Read 73. I chose Read 73 because I wanted to read 73 books this year. It's a doable goal. I can do that. Maybe. I read 50 books last year, and I started in August. So I had to read roughly 10 books a month on average. Some I did less, some I did more. And that was very difficult. Every moment of spare time was spent reading. I read before I went to work. I read while at work. I came home and I read for hours more. And I did that for 5 months. And it was hard. And I don't want to do that again. That was a mistake. But I couldn't stop reading. It wasn't that I went into reading in August saying I wanted to read 50 books. I wanted to read, I think it might have been 10 books. And then I upped it to 30 books. And I thought I could do 30 books. And then as I was getting closer to 50, I thought I probably could get to 50 because I was devouring these books. And I read some good ones. So I thought, you know what? Next year I could probably read 73. And so I created this channel. Kind of a way of documenting the experience of reading these books. What this channel will ultimately be, I don't know. It could just be at the end of the day complaining about BookTube. I don't know. I hope it doesn't come to that. Even though I can tell you that I'm not a big fan of BookTube, but that's it's also why am I going to be contributing to something that I don't particularly enjoy? Though I do enjoy it. I have complicated feelings, and that's okay. I'm a human. But more so about this channel, what I want to be able to do is better communicate my ideas, better communicate what I am reading, just be a better communicator. Because I have troubles with that. Words don't come easily to me. And being coherent and being understood is very important. And when I'm not understood, it makes me uncomfortable. And I don't like feeling that way. So this is kind of an experiment in order for me to be better at that. And maybe just be better and more comfortable being uncomfortable. And right now I am very uncomfortable. I'm reading Schindler's List right now. A friend of mine came into work and she was holding that book. And I said, that's no joke. That is a tough book. And I had watched the movie years ago on VHS, and it really stuck with me. Because my fascination with World War II was pretty high at the time. I just think that that's just a really fascinating war. Because you just really have like two enemies coming at you. And it's really fascinating. And so when I saw her reading that book, I thought to myself, that's probably a book you want a buddy to read with. And even though she doesn't like to talk about the books that she reads, a book like that, a book that dives into the horrors and the depravity of humanity, it's easier to digest it if there is someone you can talk to about it. And you can kind of like bounce off like the emotions with. And I'm about a third into the book. And it's difficult. It is emotionally taxing. And I am only really able to read a few chapters a day before I have to put the book down. And I may not pick up reading for the rest of that day. Like, I just need to do something else. I need to play a video game. I need to watch YouTube. I just need to decompress, and it takes a lot out of me. Last year I read a book, and it was the most depraved, vile, disgusting book I had ever read. It was one of the books that people tell you is all those things. And I'm not someone who gets triggered. And that ended up triggering me. It's like I can deal with a lot of things, especially in books. And it was just, I questioned why this book was written. I questioned why this book was published. But when you have the freedom of speech, the freedom of expression, it protects the speech and expression that you may not agree with, that you find vile, that you hate, that you find disgusting. And I hate that. But, you just have to choose the media, choose the speech that you are willing to listen to. And just understand that there's going to be stuff out there that you just hope that there will be some change in themselves, and that they'll look back on these things and learn from it versus reinforcing it. And what was so horrible about this book is that it seemed like it was for the pleasure of the author and not for the audience, which made it even creepier and even more vile. And putting that book up against Schindler's List, it is like, while the depravity and the disgusting things that the Nazis did to these Jews, it's like you can tell the story, which story is worthy of being told. And it is the Jews' story. It is this story. It is Schindler's story. And how he came to this realization about what was actually happening to the Jews. And that's about where I'm at in the book right now. Leading up to that point, I didn't really understand what he was actually doing. It seemed like he was just using the Jews as labor. And then it was, I want to say maybe chapter 14. It's like, oh no, the Nazis are really, they're doing horrible things. And that is an important story to tell. Whereas the book that I had read last year, its existence is questionable. Why? There was nothing in this book that was redeemable. That you could look at that book and you can say, that book is worth the paper it was printed on. It was not. Schindler's List is. Schindler's List is.